So the first topic, compounds versus isolation exercises. Now, this is a topic that I believe that, a lot of people, do kind of wonder about this and kind of do struggle with this. Which one should you choose? Compound exercises versus isolation exercises. And there isn't, you can't really, yeah, one is actually better. Compounds are better. I was going to say you can't really choose, if one is better since, that they do have their own benefits when applied in the right way. So isolation exercises do have great benefits, even though compound exercises are superior. Okay, so applied in the right way and at the right time, isolation exercises are great, equal, if not, better in different ways than compound exercises, but compound exercises are just superior. Okay. So, what's a compound exercise? A compound exercise is a multi joint movement that works several muscles at the same time. So that means like you're going to be working you're going to be working multiple muscles at the same time, multiple joints. So if you're doing a bench press, your elbow joint would be moving, and then your shoulder joint would be moving. So that's why it's a compound exercise, multiple things together. Another compound exercise, like a squat, which works both your hips and knees and also engages your core, glutes, and quads all at the same time. So not only are you moving multiple joints, but now you're using multiple muscles to do said exercise. Okay? Now, what are the benefits to an isolation exercise? I would say the benefit to an isolation exercise is that you can target specific muscles. So if you have, if you have like an imbalance in like your squat or something, and then but that has to do with your left butt cheek not turning on or being or warmed up. Having, using a cable machine or, isolating that left butt by doing like a kickback, or if you had what would be another isolation exercise, or if you want to do like a pull through, where you're isolating both of you're priming your butt, then that's where like an isolation exercise would be beneficial, and that's because you're able to target what you are trying to warm up before you go to your main lift. Isolation exercises aren't the best for building muscle. If you want to build muscle, stick to the compound exercises. If you're looking for tone, shape, whatever that you're trying to do in the gym, lose fat, anything, choose compound exercises over isolation exercises. And unless you have to isolate something to prime something, or to add more volume or frequency to your workout. Those are the two benefits of isolation exercises. All right. And so what are the benefits to compound exercises? I actually gave you, a lot more benefits of the isolation exercises than I did compound exercises. So for compound exercises contribute towards functional health more than isolation exercises, and that's because functional health, meaning like doing a squat is something that's functional, like that's you can do that, and you squat probably multiple times a day, so that's something that is beneficial functionally in your real life. All right, so that's one benefit of doing compound exercises. And then also, compound exercises keep your heart rate up. So not only are you working out to build strength and build muscle and burn body fat, but you're also training your cardiovascular health when you're doing compound exercises, because they are recruiting a lot of muscles, and it is a hard exercise, so your heart rate is naturally up. So another reason there why you would choose a compound exercise. Okay, so The next reason is, which should be the most important reason for most people or the average person who joins the gym, and that is to lose body fat and to burn calories. So compound exercises actually burn more calories than isolation exercises during the same time period. So if you're at the gym for an hour, you're doing you're doing chest flies versus doing a bench press. You're gonna burn more calories doing a bench press than doing chest flies. And then the last benefit is that you will be able to take on more load. You'll be able to load your body more, sending a louder signal to your central nervous system to say, hey, we need some tone here. Here, hey, build some muscle here. We got this heavier load on our back. So compound exercises allow you to do that compared to an isolation exercise. And you really shouldn't load an isolation exercise because that's not what it's made for. The isolation exercise is meant to really like connect and feel. You can also load it, but you can't load it to the point where like you can't feel. And that's not very much load. You're not really sending that much, that big of a signal when you're doing isolation exercises. The signal that you're sending, the big signal that you are sending when doing isolation exercises is connecting to that muscle, is connecting to it and getting better at squeezing that muscle. But anyways, all right, let's switch to our next topic, which is how or what's the secret to building a perfect butt? Now, ladies, I know y'all really fuck with this one. And fellas, if you're an athlete and you're wondering how you want to increase, your performance in your sport, or maybe, maybe you don't really play a sport like, formally, but, you do like an intramural or something like that, and you want to be more explosive and athletic, build your butt. If you look at most athletes that are like dominant, like they got big glutes. That's why they are so explosive and quick, because they got big glutes. So guys, girls, the secret to building a perfect butt, let's get into it. Okay, so I'll start with the reason why some people can't see results when they're trying to build their butt in the gym. And the first reason is due to something called, well, some people call it this, sleepy butt syndrome. And this is a syndrome that is defined as your butt is not no, I'm just playing. Your butt isn't actually like sleeping and not active. Your butt is active. It just means that it's less active than your other cheek. So say let's say maybe you're just quad dominant. Let's go that way. Let's say you're just more quad dominant than glute dominant, which would mean that like if you're more quad dominant, that means like your glutes probably don't fire that hard, and they don't get the chance to fire that hard because your quads usually overtake the exercise, especially when you're maybe like in something like a squat or something, right? So sleepy butt syndrome. So it's basically saying that your butt, your posterior chain, your butt, like part of your posterior chain, which is your butt, is not firing hard enough. It's asleep. Like it's asleep at the wheel. It's not going hard enough. Like it's not able to squeeze as hard as it needs to to be part of the exercise. So how do you combat that? There are a few things that you can do to combat like sleepy butt syndrome. And the first thing that you can do, I mentioned before in the beginning of the video, is priming. So is isolating your butt before doing your compound exercise. And by isolating it and using a load that's fairly light, not light, but like fairly light, so like medium to like light, and getting a good squeeze. And you could even go about like medium weight and get a good squeeze and get a good feel. Get about like 3 to 5 reps, just really squeezing. So like if you're doing like a pull through, is probably what I would do. If I was quad dominant and I was trying to wake my butt up before I go do my squats, I would do like a band pull through. I would tie a band, or maybe I would use a cable pull through. Let's just use cables, right? Because most gyms do have cables. I do a cable pull through. So with that exercise, I'm going to be using my glutes, right? So, and I can use like a fairly lightweight, like I mentioned. So then I'm going to get a 3 to 5 reps, just do a couple sets just real quick and just get a nice squeeze. You're not working, when you're doing these, you're not working to like feel fatigued. You're just getting that muscle ready. You're waking it up and really practicing. What you're doing is practicing the squeeze. So then you could take that into your main lift, which is the squat. All right. And you can do this for deadlifts too. Um, so the second thing to build your butt, the second thing you can do to build your butt is to do compound exercises, right? So doing compound exercises is a bigger bang for your buck. So it's bigger bang for your time at the gym, okay? Because time is money. It's a way bigger bang for your time at the gym. Like if you were to do pull throughs all day or do kickbacks, and just a full workout of isolation exercises, that wouldn't even equate to like the amount of work or the amount of work put in, or like compared to your squat. Like it wouldn't even compare. Like in the same time period, if you did a whole workout where you're doing isolation exercises compared to when it's just doing squats, like squats, the amount of work put in that gym session, squats would win by tenfold. So do compound exercises. So do squats, do your deadlifts. And then the third thing would be to add more frequency to your workout. So that basically just means just training your butt more during the week. So if you were training your butt, if you were doing a lower body day or leg exercise only, once a week, I would add another workout to that, right? Either another workout, or I would add like a focus session, right? I would add like a focus session, and that's where you would, let's say you worked, you had 2 leg days during the week, but then you want to add some more volume or some more frequency is what we want to focus on, is frequency to your workout. Maybe you don't even want to add it to the full workout and just focus on your glutes, since you're just focusing on your glutes, right? So just focusing on just growing your glutes. So you would do like pick like, a few isolation exercises and then do those at home if you can, or if you do still want to go to the gym, you can just do another workout. But I would do those, that focus session, and just do like, 3 to 5 sets, just not working again here for the focus session. The thing, just apply the same concept that you would use um for doing the priming, but with the focus session, you'll be doing more reps, but you're still not working to get fatigued. You're just working to just send a signal to your central nervous system to say, hey, listen, we're using this again. This is the third time we've used this week. So that means let's prioritize, recovery to this area here. And let's prioritize building some more tissue in this area here. And that's basically how you tone your body. All right. Not just your butt. So that's it. That's the secret to building a perfect butt. So let's go over the 3 things again. First, you're going to prime, right? You're going to do an activation exercise. You're going to prime that butt, get it activated and awake and ready to go, and transition that into your main lifts, which is the next thing, which is do compound exercises, right? You need to have compound exercises in your main lift, okay? So whatever exercise that you do now for lower body or your butt, I would build that around a compound lower body exercise like a squat or a deadlift, okay? And then the third thing was to add more frequency to your workout. So that's either adding another workout or doing focus sessions. Okay, now on to the next thing, which is the 2 reasons why your knees cave in when you work out, specifically when you do a barbell squat or any type of squat. If it's not you, you've seen somebody like this in the gym before, where when they're squatting, you're going down, right? You're going down, and then on your way back up, you're pressing up, your knees just cave in slightly, or some people are worse than others, but most people, I would say, probably struggle from a little bit of this. Okay, so there are two reasons why that this happens, and the first one being, and the first one being is that lack of strength in your feet. Okay, so not having enough strength in your feet, and what happens there is that your foot collapses, right? Your foot collapses, your heel kind of falls in, right? Your foot pronates, so then um, you can't really follow that same straight path like at your knee joint. So from your ankle joint, your foot collapses, then that messes your knee joint, and what's going to follow is your knees. So if your foot collapses in, then your knees are going to follow, and then your hips are also going to follow. So that's the first reason why um, you see that happen to people at the gym or you yourself. Okay, now the second reason is also the fix for it, which is lack of side butt action. So that's the second thing about it is your side butt, which is your glute medius, is is not firing. It's not firing correctly, or or maybe it's because you're quad dominant, something there, or maybe it's because of the mobility issue in your ankle. So it could be all three things. It could be all three things, but I know a big issue that I've seen in most people is that it's a side butt issue also. So it's most likely going to be both. So it's going to be an issue at your foot or ankle, and your side butt not firing enough and being primed enough before you do a certain exercise. So how would you fix that? You would do isolation, and another isolation exercise. You do an isolation exercise to prime that, to get it ready to fire and get ready for your workout, to be ready to be part of the workout or exercise that you're doing. So priming exercise that I would do for your side butt is you can use like circle bands, wrap those around your knees, and stand about hip width, and then you would practice pushing your knees out. Do about 10 to 12 reps of those. Get that, get that blood pumping in there, and then get those muscles excited and awake. Okay. Or you can do another isolation exercise is for a side butt. You can do, if you don't have bands, you can do a side lying clamshell. If you don't know what that looks like, look it up on YouTube, side lying clamshell, or you can just call it clamshell. So those are two reasons why your knees cave in, and that I gave you a fix for it. So if you do struggle with this, apply what I just said there, and then you'll be able to fix that issue for you in your squats. I didn't actually give you something for your foot. If you want to strengthen your foot, a foot exercise that you can do is like toe curls. And what I would do is I would put like a towel on the ground, right? Put a towel on the ground. You can just do this sitting or standing up, and you're basically just gonna curl the towel towards you. You're gonna curl it. Do as many reps as you can on that one foot, maybe like eight to 10, like really controlled, and then switch to the other and just do it like you would be doing like an exercise, like a regular exercise. Another foot strengthening or maybe a foot activation and foot control exercise is piano toes. And it's basically where you're articulating your toes one at a time, using them one at a time, and lifting them up and putting them back down one at a time as a piano. Okay? So those are the two reasons why your knees cave in, and I gave you some reason or some fixes to them, some things that you can apply today to get those better and moving better for you. Okay? All right, now let's move on to the last thing of this fitness focus episode, which is what are 5 exercises? What are the top 5 exercises to do for a great looking body? Okay, so now I'm gonna name off some of these exercises. I'm gonna start off. Which one would I go first? Okay, so the first exercise I would choose That's in my top five, right? It's my top five. If I could do this every day for, months, first exercise I would do is a squat. I would definitely have that in my program, because it's a big compound exercise, a big bang for my buck, and just learning the skill of it is beneficial. So squat for legs, right? We're gonna have squat for legs, and glutes, and a little bit of hamstring action there, and then we're gonna have deadlifts, which is gonna be more butt and hamstring, and depending on which one that you do, conventional or sumo, is gonna focus either or your lower back. And then the third exercise I would choose is a bench press. You cannot forget a bench press. You need to have a bench press in there because that's a big upper body compound exercise. And the next one is an overhead press. This one's definitely a favorite for the shoulders, traps. You got to have an overhead press in there, because we do lift things above our heads. We are humans and we do lift things above our heads. So doing an overhead press, strengthening those shoulders, strengthening your shoulder movement and mobility. You got to have overhead press in there. And then last but not least is a row. Either do like a barbell row or a pull up, and you're complete. That right there is a complete solid exercise, solid workout. If you do these 5 exercises well, not every day, but if that would count as like a full body exercise, if you did this about 2 to 3 times a week, and you phased in and out of rep ranges, you would build a stellar body, a great physique. Like you don't need, crazy supplements or these crazy workouts. Like doing these exercises right here, just getting better at them, even though they're all compound exercises, just getting better at them is what's going to yield you results in the gym. So, compound exercises, man. If you've not even or haven't noticed, the theme of the show is really driving in the importance of doing compound exercises. They are hard. They are super hard, but that's the thing about them. Getting better at them will get you results. You don't have to be perfect at it, but just as long as you're working to get perfect at it, you will see tremendous results in the gym. Trust me on this. Like I've been there. I've done the crazy exercises, the new thing, the drop sets, the hacks. Like I've done all of those, and those techniques didn't yield me or haven't yielded me as much results as I have like recently by just focusing on my main 5, like squat, deadlift, bench press, overhead press, and rows. Like focusing on those, my body has been crazy. And you don't have to do these exercises in a barbell form or in a dumbbell form. Like you can you can just having these in your mind, you can plan any type of workout using any type of workout equipment. So if you don't have a barbell, use dumbbells. If you don't have dumbbells, you can use bands. You can get creative. Just know that you're focusing on these 5 exercises, and they have different variations of them that you can do. So if you can't squat, then you can do a Bulgarian split squat or a regular split squat. All right? Okay. Boom, 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 boom. And then another thing too is deadlifts. I don't really see a lot of people like deadlifting, like more than I have in the past, but I don't really see a lot of people deadlifting. And deadlifting is definitely a a pillar to your complete fitness as in aesthetics and functional health. So if you don't have deadlifts in there working that posterior chain, which is everything in your back, you know, from the top all the way down, then you're missing a lot of gains there. So what are some benefits of doing deadlifts? Sumo versus conventional. Which one would you choose, right? If you didn't even know that there was two, you can do either conventional or you can do sumo deadlifts. So what's the difference? Conventional deadlift, that one is most is like some people would say that like you get more activation in your lower back. You so like if people say like, oh, I don't like deadlifting because it makes my lower back super sore. Um, and that's probably because, your butt's probably asleep, sleepy butt syndrome, and you probably have the same issue with your hamstring. So you end up pulling with your back more than your hamstrings and your butt, because that's supposed to be deadlifts are a butt and hamstring mainly exercise, but your back does get involved, but your back should really only get involved for stabilizing. So like a sumo is more hip like dominant, so you're gonna more hip involvement, I should say, and it has more inner thigh involvement. It also is less stress on the lower back, potentially less stress on the lower back, and then it's great for building that side butt. Okay, so that's really the two difference between a conventional deadlift and a sumo deadlift. Okay, and it's not about being perfect at these exercises. Maybe this is more true for deadlift. Well, no, actually less true for deadlift. This is more less true for deadlifts. So for deadlifts, it's probably the only exercise I would say to shoot to do it perfect. Is to shoot always to do it perfect. If you're not doing it perfect and you've got a heavy weight, you're gonna hurt yourself. Now, if you're not doing it perfect and you have a light weight, less likely to hurt yourself. So if you're doing it perfect with a heavy weight, you're solid. But if you're not doing it perfect without a heavy weight, you're going to fuck yourself up. All right? Okay. So now we've talked about, throughout the show so far, we've talked about, you know, compound exercises, isolation exercises, secret to a perfect butt, reasons why your knees cave in, and exercises that you can do to um, get your body looking great, building a great looking body. All right. So now that we talked about all the workout stuff, let's talk about recovery, which is something that maybe all of us kind of neglect this too. And recovery is a very important part of your fitness success. If you're not recovering and you're not spending the time to let your body build, and you're not applying the best things and the best practices, then you are not going to see results. So with that said, what are some best practices for recovery? So these are techniques that you can apply in your everyday life and that aren't, crazy, that will, yield you a lot of results. So trust me, like you can have all the workout and the nutrition, but if you're not recovering, good luck. Good luck. So what are some best practices for recovery? Um, so first one I would say is to do mobility. So do mobility based type of recovery on your days off. So go out and do some stretching, do some mobility specific work. So if you have like ankle issues, hip issues, do mobility and do ankle and hip mobility, stuff. And if you have shoulder issues, do that. Doing those things will help you recover faster. So by dealing with your mobility stuff, you're getting blood moving in those muscles that are moving those joints, right? And then that helps those muscles recover faster. You can also even do yoga. Yoga, especially like a yin or something for recovery. I'm definitely backing that. You want to do some yoga on your recovery days? Do some yoga. All right. And then the second thing is sleep. Sleep. We do not pay attention to sleep. Sleep is like, if not the most important thing to your whole, fitness and health. If you're not getting any sleep, you can be working out and getting the perfect amount of workout in and the perfect amount of food in, and you will see no gains if you don't get enough sleep, or not really enough sleep, but quality sleep. Okay? The focus is quality sleep. So get your sleep so you can grow. And then the last thing is food, is the nutrition part. Food. If you want to recover faster and recover better, you got to get enough food. So if you're working out and you're going hard in the gym, or you're getting your perfect workouts in, but you're not refueling your body, and you're not giving it what it needs to recover, then you're not going to see results there either. All right. So those are the three techniques that you can apply in your life today to start recovering better. So those are some three best practices for recovery. All right. And then one thing from the recovery piece is sleep. And I want to really drive that one home. Sleep is very important. And like I mentioned before, it's not about the quality of sleep. It's the quantity. It's not about the quantity of sleep. It is the quality of sleep that you are getting. That's what matters the most, is getting quality sleep. So let's say you're getting 9 hours of sleep a night, but it's shitty sleep. You're waking up here and there, and you're tossing and turning, and you're not really getting deep sleep. And then there's somebody else that's sleeping 6 hours a night, but they're getting deep sleep. Like right when they go to sleep, like they're in deep ass sleep, and they sleep through the whole night, and they wake up rejuvenated. That person is gonna be better off than the person that's getting 9 hours of sleep. So what are some best practices that you can apply to get quality sleep? And the first thing I would say that I've seen worked for me, and actually all these three things partner together work for me great. And when I don't do them, I see a big difference in the quality of my sleep. All right. So the first thing is to not eat or drink 2 hours before bed. Okay, and the reason for that is that when you eat before bed, that digestion process sends a signal to your brain saying that, hey, I need to digest this first, so let's stay up here. So let's say, that's gonna send that signal, and maybe that signal is not gonna, is gonna block something to help you aid into getting that deeper sleep. So don't eat or drink anything 2 hours before you go to bed. All right. And the next thing is not the last thing. The next thing is to dim the lights in your house or use candles. Okay. Now, this right here really has to do with, kind of like, goes back to um, also we can add, don't use electronics. So don't look at any lights. Dim your lights if you can. Um, and this has to do really with your circadian rhythm. So it's kind of like going back to, so like when the sun is going down, like when the sun is going down, it that sends a signal to, as the sun is going down, it's sending a signal through your eyes to your brain, and your brain is registering that the sun is going down, and it's saying that it's time to go to bed. So when that happens, your brain starts releasing melatonin to start helping you get ready for sleep. So if it's light in your house, it's really bright, and you're using electronics, you're staring at your phone, you're messing up with that signal, so that melatonin is not getting sent to your brain and body, or from your brain, to get you ready for sleep. Okay? And the last thing I would say to help you get good deep sleep is to sleep in a cold room. Around 65 degrees is what's been proven. And the science behind this, or what they theorize, is going back to the caveman days, literally the caveman days, since we used to sleep in cold ass caves that were dark, and that's what we evolved from. So that's why today, when studied, you can see that somebody will get better sleep when they sleep in a cold room around like 65 degrees. And if that room is dark too, oh man, that's a great combination. That's where we came from. That's what we want. We're just recreating the environment of the cold, dark cave. All right. We're humans, even though we've evolved from the caveman days. Like, things are still stuck in our DNA. So, we gotta think about those things and consider those things. But those are three great practices that you can apply today, to start getting better sleep, quality, deep sleep. Okay? All right. So that was a lot for one episode. I actually might have to chop this up into two, but we'll see.